is what you're projecting onto. And then we don't want to go normal.
Support is the surface.
Yeah, the support is the surface we made, the sweep. Okay? If we do normal, it's going to project this shoulder along that surface. We don't want to do that for this. We want to do along a direction, and the direction we want to go to depends on the datum that we set up. But if I kind of scroll up here, you'll see that we want to project in the Y direction, right? Because we want this thing to go that way. Now this is the positive Y direction going this way, right? So we want the negative Y.
Which support did you pick?
The support is the surface.
Oh, the surface.
Uh-huh. Yep, so you want the Y component. If we hit preview, we'll see that the shoulder's on the surface. Yeah, you want to do a long direction instead of normal. And then you'll click on the Y component, and it will project that surface onto the vehicle. Or it'll project that lower control arm onto the surface. Now this is a little bit way too curvy for my tastes. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to straighten this up a little bit. Looks pretty good. There we go. That looks a little straighter. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to split that surface so that all we have is just the shoulder. So there's the split tool. The selection that you're going to cut is always the object that you want to cut. So you can think of sheets as paper when you're using the split tool. Okay? This is asking for where's your sheet of paper you want to cut. So you'll select this surface. The cutting element is where you place your scissors. So we want to cut along this projection here. Now we don't want to, when it goes gray, that's the stuff that's going to be removed. So we want to do the other side, because we want to keep that. We'll go ahead and press OK. And now we've basically got the lower side of our vehicle. Okay? Yeah. Okay, let me hop over there and see. Yeah. Real quick, one thing I did want to point out, if you do get an error saying it can't cut, the reason is probably because this line doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So like when I created this first sketch originally, if this line is not in line with the projection, like maybe it's up a little bit here, like this, that would cause it not to be able to cut the surface because it's almost as if I'm just cutting inside the paper, but I'm not actually going the full path, right? So you need to make sure that your sketch kind of controls where your scissors path is. So if you get an error and it says, I can't cut this, well, the chances are it's because you're most likely trying to do a hole punch type style rather than actually cutting it from the beginning to end. And so you need to make sure that you can come in your sketch, modify it, and fix that so that it should work. Okay, so any questions so far? Are we good? All right, I'll keep going. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create some cross sections so we can develop the hood of our vehicle. The more cross sections you have, the more control you have over what the style of the hood of your vehicle looks like. Okay? To illustrate that a little bit better, I'm going to create some planes, and I think my toolbar is missing, so I might need some inserts. Not seeing it. Let's see if we...
It's to the left.
Oh, there it is. Thanks.
Good catch.
I got to stop moving my toolbars around too much. All right, so we want to do an offset. We want to do an offset from the YZ plane. And we want it to probably be closer to the center of the vehicle. So let's just kind of get a normal view here. Let's get a normal view of this plane. Let's see. No, not that one. Sorry. Let's get let's see. I think it's the right view is what I want. Yes, there it is. Okay. So we'll go ahead and do an offset plane from this plane, and we want to bring it here to about this, probably about the center of your wheel. Okay. You'll create another plane, and you'll offset from this one. And we'll bring that one down here to about the center of that other wheel. So this should this should be sufficient for right now. Yep. So I created 2 planes. Okay, so that's kind of our situation right now. We want to intersect where that plane is and where the shoulder sheet is, and we want to create a point at the top of this line, so that way we can get a line that goes from the top shoulder here, or the top of our vehicle, down to that point. Okay. So we want to do an intersection. To do that, let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's been a long time, so in fact, I'm not seeing the command right off the top of my bat. So
it's the same thing as projecting the same little box.
Yeah, I guess you could do it that way.
So, oh no, it's in the same like menu.
Oh, there it is right there. Intersect. Give my computer a second here to stop thinking. What's that? So if we do an intersect, we can do the first element, which is, I believe it's our plane. The second element is the surface. And if we hit preview, it should draw a line. Perfect. So there's the first intersection. We want to do that again.
Wait, it should draw that line?
Yeah.
This like we were just going to pop in. Practical.
Oh yeah, you guys are okay just as long as you kind of keep being quiet, don't interrupt anything.
Can we just sit over here?
Yeah. So if you do an intersection here on this plane, and then do an intersection of the surface again, you should get another line, and that's perfect. So we'll get 2 intersection lines right there. Okay. All right. So now we want to start creating some cross-sectional curves that we can use to define the hood of our vehicle, the trunk of our vehicle, and kind of part of the shoulder. So we'll create a new sketch. We'll do it again here on the XY plane. And our first one, we want to start at the same spot as the front of our vehicle. And what I usually do is I will create a construction element.
What plane do you use?
We're on the XY, or excuse me, let me highlight that. We're on the XY plane. I just rotated my view. It came up like this. Okay, so we'll create a construction element by clicking the construction element on, draw a line, and we'll go from the origin out to about right here. Okay?
Just beyond it.
Yeah, so it's straight out. You're going in the Y direction. Okay? It doesn't matter. It's how far you extend it. I just like creating a reference line because I'm going to use that to define the spline that I'm going to use for the front of my vehicle.
Wait, I'm kind of confused. Isn't the XY plane the ground?
Yeah.
So I honestly can't tell at all where you're drawing that line because of the view.
Straighten your view out.
Okay, so you're drawing
Does that help?
horizontal.
So here's the XY plane. It's the bottom of my car, and I'm going straight out. Okay. So now that I've got that, let's kind of shift this down just a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to create a spline. I'm going to start here at the beginning.
Construction spline?
Nope, we want just a regular spline. Thanks. So I'll click on the beginning point, and I'll use my second point based on this reference line. And then my last point, I want it to touch on that corner. So let's see if I got it.
So you did one at the origin, one on the construction line.
And then my last one is the very beginning of that projected line. Okay?
Do we need to do a coincidence to make a match? Just leave it close.
It should touch. I think for right now we'll be okay because the plane that I drew this in shouldn't have any issues. But if it doesn't touch, I can come back in and constrain it appropriately if I need to. Okay, so there's kind of going to be the front of our vehicle, okay? We'll hop out of sketch, and we're going to create another spline. This one is going to be on the plane that we just created near the wheel. Okay? So I'm going to hop in there. We're going to create another reference line. And I'm going to rotate this just a little bit. We want this reference line to basically be at the top shoulder if we can. And it just goes straight out. Okay? Just like the last one. Now if you need to, you can come in here and see if you can make those coincident so that that line is right on that curve. So you need it to be on the top shoulder, the top of that vehicle. Okay? You'll go ahead and create a spline, same way we did last time. At that first point, you're going to use any point along that line as your second point. And then the third point is going to be that top point where that intersection line is, if you can grab it. I don't know if I can grab mine, so I'll just end right there and then see if I can make that point and that point coincident. Okay?
So you did the same kind of thing.
Same kind of thing, yep. Okay, are we good? Any questions so far? All right. So we'll hop out of sketch. We're going to do the same exact thing for this back plane right here. Create a sketch, draw a construction element from the top of this line out horizontally, and we will constrain the end point and this curve to be coincident. I think it's hard to tell if that's on there or not. I can't really see at the moment. Okay.
What's the point of making that construction element?
I just use it as a reference.
What's the benefits of
It allows you to create a spline that keeps kind of a level top where the hood of your car is going to be in the trunk. You don't have to do it this way. It's just for me it's easier if I do it that way. Okay, and then we want to make this and this coincident.
So you do want to make sure that those points are touching the surface.
Right.
So we need to do that on the.
Yep. That's why we made those intersection curves originally. Okay. Hop out. And we will create one last sketch on the XY plane. And we're going to do the same thing that we did to the front of the car to the back of the car. So we're going to create a construction element. Bring that out. Create another spline. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll have this point and that point be coincident. And then I might want to slide.
Which plane are you
on? XY plane. Yep, my ground plane.
His favorite plane.
My ground plane.
So you could technically do the first sketch and this sketch on the same.
Yeah. And then this way you can grab that second point because I have that line there, and I can make it as curvy as I want, but it'll stay on that line. So I can get, it kind of helps me get the reference that I want. See that? So I can kind of make that as smooth or as sharp as I want to. So that's why I do those elements that way. Okay, so when we've got those 4 sketches complete, we can now basically create the hood of our vehicle. Okay? To do that, we're going to use